Clark Kellogg, CBS college basketball analyst, longtime NBA player, former college basketball great as well. Clark, thank you for taking the time to jump on the line.
Tim, great to hang out with you, man. This is a special weekend on the sports calendar across all of basketball, men's and women's, so I'm glad to be able to join you.
We'll start with, you talk about one of the premier matchups. It's being talked about like it's Batman versus Superman around here. Edey versus Burns. Who has the upper hand?
Well, Edey, clearly. I mean, he's 3 bills and 7'3", so clearly that gives him an advantage. My dad told me, my late dad always told me, good big will beat good little anytime everything is equal. And as big as DJ is, he's not as big as Zach. But that doesn't mean that he's going to be overwhelmed or outmatched. I think he's just got to be cerebral in his attack, and he's shown that he's got great basketball savvy and IQ. I just don't know if he can back down Zach Edey like he's able to back down most defenders that are on him. And we'll see if Purdue even plays Zach on him. I would think that would be the matchup, but they've got other guys they might put on DJ Burns Jr. I think he's going to have to use his face-up jump shot a little more in this particular matchup. But we'll see. I mean, that's part of the beauty of it. We speculate and postulate and anticipate, and sometimes things are thrown at us that we didn't think about seeing. So we'll see how Kevin Keats and the Wolfpack approach dealing with Big Zach.
Is there someone in basketball history that reminds you of DJ Burns? It seems like he's super unique, but you've seen him and played in a lot of basketball. Is there a name that comes into mind?
I hadn't really thought about it, but because he's so big and has such a soft touch and is nimble-footed, there are guys, maybe Glenn Davis, who played at LSU and played in the NBA for a while, Big Baby Davis. He shot it a little. He shot threes on occasion, but had that same type of girth and light-footedness, I'm trying to think. Zach Randolph, because he's left-handed, Zach was never quite that big, but had a similar type of touch and game, from 15 feet in, where you wonder how Zach got his shots off over bigger, stronger defenders as regularly as he did with such effectiveness. So I see some of that in DJ Burns Jr. too, his ability to make shots against tough defense using his body, his touch, and his footwork.
Clark Kellogg, CBS college basketball analyst, joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline here on The Drive. Clark, when it comes to Edey, there's a reason why every award has him on the short list, and he's won a bunch of them. How much do the refs play a factor in it? You look at the discrepancy between Tennessee and Purdue in the last round; it was drastic. Yeah. And I'm not certain refs call a game tighter. Could that affect the way that those two play down low?
I actually love the way the games have been officiated, and I've watched a ton of them throughout the tournament. They've allowed some latitude with physicality, and Zach is a hard guy to officiate, much like Shaq was in his day. Yao Ming, any of those guys that are really talented and big. You don't want to call it differently because they're bigger. You want to be fair across the board, but it's a hard dynamic. But I think the officials have gotten it right more times than not. Zach puts a lot of pressure. I actually think, if you're looking at percentages, they call most of the fouls they could call in favor of Zach, but there's probably still another 10 to 15% that they don't. And I don't have a problem with that because I think it works that way for other players too. All physical contact isn't a foul. And so I've been really pleased with overall how the officials have called the games, given some room for physicality, and allowing rhythm and flow to be part of what that is, because you could stagnate games if you were only going to officiate by the letter of the law as opposed to the spirit of the law and contact.
If you're running NC State's defense, are you like the sharpshooters from Purdue, I think are a little underrated because everyone's eye goes right to Edey.
Yeah.
Are you sending the double, knowing that those shooters are going to be available? Like, how do you balance that?
I'm mixing it up. I don't want a steady diet. I mean, obviously you want to try to make Zach work for whatever he gets. You don't want to create easy shots for the perimeter guys, although the Purdue guys haven't shot it great from the three-point line in the tournament, but their percentages are pretty impressive when you look at their body of work. So, yeah, I would mix it up, Tim. You know, double him some, double him from different places. I think more important than how you defend Zach in terms of doubling or not is being disruptive at the point of attack. Really good ball pressure, trying to deny passing angles, and then trying to create deflections as much as you can, tracing that ball on passes as much as you can before it gets in there. I think that's a huge component if you're going to be effective. And then get in there and dig it out when Jack puts it on the ground if you can.
I could talk like basketball nerd stuff with you all day and dive into the rotations and everything. But the fact is, March Madness comes with a bit of magic, right? Here in the Triangle in North Carolina, there's a lot of feels like 83 being thrown around and a lot of the similarities. How do you account for that element of what NC State's done? You know, going into a game where you might want to say Purdue has this advantage, Purdue has that advantage, Purdue has this player, that player. But on the other side, there's that other thing. There's that whatever NC State has going on. How do you account for that?
Well, I think you acknowledge it, you respect it, you appreciate it, and you don't dismiss it. And it is a factor. And if things are tight and guys are playing at the level they've shown or even beyond for NC State, which could happen, then you could have another magical, unexpected miracle moment. And you never discount or dismiss those in sports.
We're talking with Clark Kellogg, CBS college basketball analyst. Clark, just a few more for you. I was listening to Tom Izzo speak recently, and you know he's one of the legendary can take a team on a run in March Madness above seeding. And he said he thinks of it in winning weekends rather than winning games. So he might be looking ahead to the game that is on the other side of their pod, who it could be, you know, on a Wednesday, just to get that extra leg up on the second game if they make it happen. Looking at that Alabama-UConn game, is UConn beatable? Like, is there a path towards getting those guys knocked out either by Alabama or whoever comes out of the other side?
Yeah, clearly. I mean, you have to be at your very best. Alabama has three-point shooting prowess that no other team really has in the tournament to that level, and they've shown better defensive efficiency in this tournament. So the three-point shot plus defense that they've shown gives them a chance. You've got to stay close, though. You can't allow UConn to separate. And because they can score the way they can, the Crimson Tide might be able to make that happen. If it gets to a Monday night and it's Purdue or NC State, same thing. I mean, Purdue obviously would match up in the middle much better because of Zach, and they've got other pieces around them. But any team that's here could be playing on Monday, although I think it will be Purdue and UConn.
Clark, I appreciate you for taking the time. You keep chucking and everybody in check out there, all right? Keep that NBA foolishness and you keep the college basketball for us, okay?
Well, we have a good time with each other, and I love being part of the team with those guys, and we're going to do the same thing we've done for the last several years together.
And we're going to keep enjoying it. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Thanks, Tim.